with the inevitable Gears of War E-Day, we know for sure is coming, and the rumored Gears of War collection potentially on the horizon, rumored, where does this lead us with Gears of War Esports? So for those of you who didn't follow Gears Esports, I believe Gears Esports was one of the greatest esports I've ever closely observed. I absolutely loved Gears Esports when it came out. Primarily was watching it with Gears of War 4. I went to a number of events like MLG Columbus and like it was incredible. Watching the Gears circuit was so much fun for sure. When we got to Gears 5, I felt that it wasn't as compelling, maybe because the game was a step down to me at least from Gears of War 4, but I really felt that there was something there with Gears Esports. I got similar vibes with Gears Esports to the Call of Duty League. Just the different stars that play in Gears Esports, I just saw superstar potential within the esports realm. And we just never got there because it just wasn't around long enough. And you can point the finger in a number of ways, but I would say that the main issue with Gears Esports, certainly some of the decisions that the coalition made with Gears Esports was definitely a problem. But I think the big issue was that the esports organizations that were coming in to compete within Gears Esports, they were paying more money into it than they were receiving in merchandise sales, sponsorships, and things of that nature. And the players were demanding so much, you know, money for salaries. And so at some point it comes down to, you know, I've always believed that content is king when it comes to esports, YouTube, all of those things. I've always been a firm believer that content is so key when you're trying to build a brand or build an esports space. Call of Duty did this perfectly, where a number of the Call of Duty players who were playing at the highest level in esports were also creating content, and it was getting more eyeballs to Gears of War, or I should say Call of Duty. You know, Scumpy's creating content, Nadeshot's creating content, and at the same time, they're competing. See, Gears wasn't there yet in terms of you can't just show up just to scrim and then play. You got to build the space by creating content so that people watch you and they're like, wow, this player is so incredible. Now I want to watch them compete at the highest level of this thing. And it brings more people to watching Gears Esports. And man, I did not see nearly the content coming out of Gears Esports players at all. They didn't really want, like, they scrimmed, but they didn't want to stream the scrims. And if they didn't stream those, they didn't really create content. They were just, you know, obviously at some point, guys, in the future, you'll be able just to show up and play to win. But we're not there yet. Like, the reality is that esports as a whole really isn't there yet. But Gears specifically was a small esport that I believe had massive potential. Part of it I'll put on the coalition, but part of it I put on the players. The players were not creating enough content to bring more people in to watch Gears Esports. And you can disagree with me, but I believe that if Gears Esports is going to come back with Gears of War E-Day, which I believe it should, or even the Gears of War collection, you guys see what it is right now. There's no Gears Esports. So all those players that were playing at the highest level of Gears either had to go get a different job or they had to go to a different esport to play. I know, like, Mental, he used to play for like Optic and a number of teams within Gears, and now he switched over to Halo. But if you want this to be a sustainable thing, it is absolutely integral and like of the utmost importance to be creating content. And I'll just throw this out there. If you want any chance of a Gears esport to become rejuvenated, to come back into the fray, if you want it to be a sustainable ecosystem, is this thing on? What you've got to do, and what I would recommend, without question, is start creating content right now about this thing, that being Gears of War E-Day or the Gears of War collection. I would start putting the bug in everybody's ear, that being the developers, players, everybody, that we want Gears Esports to come back. But this time, what we want is we want to be able to grow the space, grow the scene. And I will tell you guys, Animal, we absolutely want to have a Gears Esports team. Absolutely. I believe that if Gears of War's collection and Gears of War E-Day has multiplayer, I believe that Gears Esports will come back in some capacity. We absolutely want to be at the forefront of that. But it all starts with content. It all starts with content. If there's no content, guys, and players are just showing up and, playing and then, not creating content, it's not going to last again. And then you're going to be back in the same same spot once again, like with Gears Esports. So the way that we create a sustainable ecosystem as a community is we've got to create content. We have to. One day, we won't have to create as much content because there already will be all these people that are watching the game. But it's not today. Today, we've got to create as much content around this thing as possible. Blow this shit up, dude. Gears of War deserves to be one of the biggest esports out there, period. I believe it should be bigger than Halo. It should be bigger than a lot of these other esports. It's like the WWE of esports. I believe, guys, I believe that Gears Esports should return, but it's got to be multiple content creators creating content, which we're going to do our part to create as much content around Gears of War as possible. And I know there's a number of other creators within Gears that are going to be creating content. And I personally believe that Gears of War, as a game, that if you ever wanted to, build a brand around a game, I think Gears of War is a great one because there's not a lot of content creators creating content. There's like a dedicated number of creators who are creating content around this thing, but it could be so much bigger. I really do. I think there could be so many more creators creating content around Gears. And so if you love Gears of War, create some content around it. If you love doing YouTube and you also love Gears, make content around Gears. Let's build hype for this shit. Let's build hype for Gears Esports. Let's blow this thing up to the next level, man. Like, I'm so sick and tired of seeing where Gears is right now. This is one of my favorite games of all time. So we're going to do what we can, guys, to get this thing out there. We're going to do our thing. I just need the players who are planning on playing Gears of War E-Day, planning on playing Gears of War Collection at a high level, start creating content. Please. Let's go, baby. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Let us know your thoughts.